Welcome to Breakdown, JJ. We're going to talk SC Big Ten, the war between those two conferences.
SEC.
SEC Big Ten,
Yes, sir.
war between those two conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. But we're going to start, JJ, with bubble teams in the basketball tournament.
Bubble teams in the basketball tournament. Let's do it.
Who got more bubble teams, the SEC or the Big Ten?
That's a good question. I think the SEC has more solid footing. I think they have a little bit less bubble teams. They have a couple of bubble teams, but there's a little bit more uncertainty within the Big Ten. So I think the Big Ten has a little bit more of that.
Tell me some of the bubble teams.
Okay, well, some of the bubble teams for the Big Ten and SEC.
Well, let's start with SEC because I know my favorite team is a bubble team.
Georgia, yeah, that's what we're talking about, right?
The Arkansas Razorback. They are a bubble team. Their talent is way better than their record, yet and still they are a bubble team. We're going to see, JJ, if by any hook or crook that they can make it into the tournament. They have one game left. That's against Mississippi State. And then they start the SEC tournament. I think they win one game day in. But what other teams out there, JJ, that are bubble teams that you think want to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of bubble teams in SEC we can talk about. We can talk about Vanderbilt, who, I thought were solidly on the right side of the bubble up until the game against Arkansas.
Last night. Vandy lost at home.
Yeah, Vandy lost at home. That was a pretty bad loss for them, but I still think they're on the right side of the bubble. Georgia, I thought, was on the wrong side of the bubble until they played Florida and had a huge win in the basketball version of the biggest cocktail party. So I think Georgia's looking pretty good. I think the RPI is in the 30s as well, or not the RPI. Ooh. That's early 2000s. I'm sorry, we're in 2025. The net, Georgia's net is in the.
It's in the 30s.
32.
It's better than Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas's 39.
I did not know Georgia's with Arkansas beat Georgia.
Yeah, but Georgia beat Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Georgia's a bubble team. We know, and you think they're solidly in.
Yeah.
And you said Vandy. You thought they were solidly in. What's your thinking now?
I think they have to win one more game, either in Nashville at the SEC tournament or for the regular season. But I think as long as they win one game, they're in. If they don't, they might have to go to Dayton. They might have to sweat it out.
Texas is on the bubble.
Texas is on the bubble. Their net is 41. Arkansas is 39. So, as we were talking about before we started filming, you said being under 40 is very important. So,
yes,
Texas is on the wrong side of 40, and Arkansas, is looking good at 39. Man, on the right side of 40.
With one game left to play, Texas win though against Mississippi State last night helped them a lot because Mississippi State is a top 25 team. At least they were going into that game.
No, that's a big win. That's a big win for them. Rodney Terry's going to need a lot of big wins. I've heard rumors that, even if he wins multiple games in the NCAA tournament, he still might end up getting replaced.
JJ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change the subject really quick and then get back to the bubble teams. We mentioned Texas.
Tejas.
We know Flag is a great freshman at Duke.
Cooper Flag, yeah.
Who's the best freshman in the SEC?
The best freshman in the SEC.
And want me to give you my opinion?
Jeremiah Fierce from Oklahoma.
Ooh, no way.
Okay. That's who you were saying back in the day. Well, that used to be your opinion.
Well, I like Fierce. I like his brother even more, but his brother's not a freshman. But JJ, if you haven't seen Trey Johnson play at Texas, you got to watch this kid.
Yeah, he went for 30 against Arkansas.
We don't want to talk about that.
Arkansas got the win. That's what's important. I mean, the right team won, but yeah, he did go for.
Aside from that, just his playing. Oh man, he can do it all, JJ.
Okay,
he can do it all. So back to the bubble team. Did we finish the bubbles? We said we got Texas, we got Georgia, we got Arkansas, we got Vandy.
Yeah, that's about it for the SEC. We can move it on up north.
Let's go up north then.
Okay, let's go north.
We know the best team in the Big Ten is Michigan State.
Well, that's to be decided. That's yet to be decided. Michigan is one game back. We'll see what happens. They will settle things Sunday, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway,
So who's the bubble team in the Big Ten?
the Big Ten is littered with bubble teams, unfortunately. You got,
Call them out.
Yeah, you got quite a few teams in the Big Ten that are on the bubble. You have your Ohio States.
Ohio State.
Yeah, they had some solid wins. They have a win against Kentucky in their back pocket that they might need to pull out pretty soon. You have Nebraska. I think their net is 57. Last time I checked.
Okay.
That's not good.
No, that's not.
It's not
They
good.
got to make some noise in the tournament.
They do. Indiana has a net of 50 but that might have been before their most recent win. But it was 50 the last time I looked, which was that was today. I looked today, so yeah. That's not great for Indiana, but I do think Indiana gets in. I think they get in. Even if they have to go to Dayton, I think Indiana gets in.
Do they? How many did they win some games in the tournament? The Big Ten tournament to get in?
15 teams make it to the Big Ten tournament. I do think that Indiana has to win at least one. What do you think?
Well, they're 18-12, and right now they're tied. Are they tied? Yeah, they're tied for 7th in the Big Ten. So 7 teams in the Big Ten will definitely make it.
Well, I've seen projections that say 11 teams will make it from the Big Ten.
So then are they really on the bubble if that many teams going to get in?
But Rutgers is a lot higher in the Big Ten standings than they are in that overall standing. Like, Rutgers is not going to make it as an at-large team, but they're in the top 11 in the Big Ten standings, are they not? Where's Rutgers? Are they like 9 or 10?
They're 10th.
Okay.
No. They're 12th.
Oh, okay.
12.
Okay. So maybe they're just on the outside. My fault. That was my mistake.
They're at least 12th. They may be worse than that, JJ.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's 18 teams in the Big Ten. They're 13th.
Oh, okay.
Rutgers is 13th.
All right. Well, maybe I was looking at the standings before they just lost their most recent game. It was a close game, but they lost it.
Okay, but you said you think Indiana's in, even though they're a bubble team. Man, who else is a bubble team?
Outside of Nebraska, Indiana, Ohio State.
Is Northwestern a bubble team?
Northwestern is a bubble team, but that's actually a surprise because I thought they were like decidedly on the outside, looking at a couple games back, but they've rallied a bit. I think the Big Ten doesn't have like a lot. I mean, outside of you have your Michigan States, Wisconsin, they're projected 2 seeds. Michigan's projected top 4 seed. You have like those schools, but after that, you just have a lot of 7, 8, 9 seeds.
Yeah,
not a lot to write home about.
The remaining teams either have 1 or 2 games left to play before the season is over, the regular season is over, and then they start the Big Ten tournament. JJ,
Dad,
the Big Ten tournament. 3 teams won't make it to the Big Ten tournament because they got the 18 teams, and the new setup is only 15 teams make it to the tournament.
Yeah.
What 3 you see out?
Well, I mean, I know it was a big. I was watching the USC game, and they were talking about that a lot. Like they were talking about how 3 teams don't make it in. And USC right now is in they're one of the third. They're the 3rd team, so they're scrapping and clawing just to make it into the outside looking in.
Yeah.
But obviously Washington, they're potentially the worst in the conference. They I don't know what's going on with them. They've been terrible since Lorenzo Romar's left. Basically.
Yeah, they will not make it to the tournament. That's for sure. Penn State will not make it to the tournament. That's for sure. To the Big Ten tournament I'm talking about.
Yeah, Micah Shrewsbury leaving Penn State for Notre Dame has just been bad for everybody. Penn State and Notre Dame combined, yeah.
The interesting one is going to be USC, Iowa. Right now they're tied. One of those teams will get in and one of them will not, if we were to decide right now. But they're only 1 game behind several teams that, that make, depending on what happened. Like I said, some teams got two games left. You got 1 game left, whatever.
Well, go Iowa. I will not be rooting for USC whatsoever.
Don't you like their coach?
Their coach did a lot for Arkansas.
Elite Eight?
2 Elite Eights, a Sweet 16. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I will not be crying any crocodile tears for USC if they don't make it to the Big Ten tournament.
Okay. So, JJ, let's talk about some recent games. Let's start with the Big Ten.
Let's talk about
some recent games and some upcoming games.
Okay.
In the Big Ten, is there any game out there that just happened over the weekend or yesterday that you want to talk about?
Any game in particular within the Big Ten that we would like to talk about? Michigan State had a pretty big win
over Wisconsin.
Some people think Wisconsin's the best team in the conference, but Michigan State, did a pretty good job of entering the ball against them.
And prior to the Wisconsin victory, Michigan State beat Maryland.
Yeah, Michigan too.
And Michigan. So they've had 3 back-to-back wins against top 15 teams.
Michigan State's been playing pretty well. Can't deny that. That was a pretty good game, Wisconsin-Michigan State.
JJ, how good is Michigan State? I'm going to ask you this 1,000 times. And I'm going to keep asking you this until, come Final Four, they're still standing. I'm still going to be asking you that question. How good is Michigan State?
Michigan State is pretty good. I think, they have a lot of the tools that it takes to make a pretty deep run. They have decent guard play, more than decent guard play. You have Jace Richardson that's breaking out. You see him all over NBA draft lotteries, mock drafts, and everything like that. He's been in the first rounds for a solid month or two, but now you see him in the lottery. You have Jace Richardson. You have depth in the front court with Carson Cooper and Jackson Kohler, and Xavier Booker. He's more of a finesse big, but he has the ability to step out, shoot a 3. They're very multifaceted.
Fiedler's coming on.
Yeah, Frankie Fiedler. He's very aggressive. You say what you want, he gets to the line.
So JJ, is Michigan State built to make a deep run into the tournament?
That's a good question. I think. I like a lot of their pieces. I like Trey Holloman. I like Jace Richardson. I think they can go as far as Jeremy Fears can take them. He has been a little disappointing.
You sure they need Fears to lead them? Because I initially thought that, but I'm not so sure that
they need a little bit more than what they've been showing. I think as of right now, I think they in the tournament when you're playing just. The best of the best teams. I do think that you need a little bit more dynamic ability from someone.
Okay.
Cohen Carr, we haven't talked a lot about him, but he's, been a very good rebounder, lob threat. And they're a very versatile, multifaceted team, but I need more from their point guard.
Okay.
I feel like they need to get a little bit more from that.
And typically, Izzo usually he gets a great deal from his point guards. But I think about the Mateen Cleave when he won it all with Mateen Cleave as a point guard, and they've done damage. This year, man, it's something about Michigan State. I can't put my finger on it, but they can lock you down on defense.
They lock you down on defense, that's for sure. They don't shoot the 3. They don't shoot.
That's the one thing.
They don't take the 3 and they don't make the 3. That is largely been talked about, but they can guard it pretty well.
Yeah,
and that's what's important. I think being able to execute in the half court on offense and be able to guard on the half court on defense is incredibly important. And I think that they can do both. But I do think that. Jeremy Fears just is not a factor. He can't really shoot the ball. And he can't really get to the rim. So I don't know.
JJ, what do you think about Sunday's game? Michigan Wolverines in Illinois last Sunday.
Well, good for Illinois. They ran away from Michigan on that one. Michigan had played a bunch of games that had been. One possession games, one single digit games, not double digit games. And the Illinois team that I seen the potential that I've seen from them was on display against Michigan.
Okay, I'm still kind of dropping Illinois, but JJ, Michigan is a game behind Michigan State in the Big Ten standing, and I just asked you about Michigan State being built for March Madness. Is Michigan built for March Madness?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are built for March Madness.
Okay,
I think that
okay,
they have the I often say that you can go as far as your guards can take you in March.
okay.
Michigan has interesting situation with that because their guards aren't just the traditional. They have point guards and shooting guards, but they have Danny Wolf, who's a 7 foot guard that I think is an X factor. I don't think he's quite the Jokic of college basketball. I don't think he can make the same impact that Jokic can on the NBA, but I think he's a unique player that teams don't really have the ability to match up with him. And I think at most you get a week to scout him. If it's the second game, you get a one day turnaround.
Yeah.
I think Michigan can really feast in those opportunities, and I really think that.
Okay. So who's better built for March Madness? Michigan, Michigan State.
That's a really good question. I think both coaches are tournament type coaches. Dusty May took Florida Atlantic to their first and only Final Four a couple years ago, and Tom Izzo's resume has been well documented. I think they both have the correct personnel, the correct mindset, and the correct coaching to go far a long way. Honestly, at this point in time, without seeing the matchups, it's really hard to tell.
That's
I'm just
true.
really
That's
just
true.
I really just I say whoever wins the game on Sunday, whoever that is.
But JJ, let's talk about one of the Big Ten team, Purdue. Purdue come off 4 losses, unexpected losses, and then they win 2 in a row, beat UCLA, and then Rutgers last night. And now their last game is Illinois. Who's the real Purdue? The one that lost those 4 in a row, or the one that was in the top 10 in the nation early in the year? Who's the real Purdue?
I think it's a little column A, a little column B. I think they're a top 20 team, but I think the Big Ten can be tough. It can be rough, and I think they've gone through some growing pains. Transitioning over from a Zach Edey led team to a Braden Smith led team.
Yeah.
It's different. For one, Purdue often in general usually is not led by their guards. Matt Painter has been he's well known and he's notorious for being able to develop bigs from Isaac Haas to
I remember Edey.
Edey, but there's another guy that ended up transferring to BYU. I mean, he develops big men better than anything. So for them to transition over to a Braden Smith led team, I think that was tough for everybody. And their big men, have left a lot to be desired. You have Trey. We have Kaufman Wren, who's a very effective scorer.
Okay.
He's very physical. He puts his body into a guy, and then
Yeah. he does a lot of offensive fouling to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not the referee, and they don't call it. But we'll see. We'll see if he gets away with that.
But he is undersized. He's not the best rebounder. He is not a good defender. He's not exactly a rim protector. They lost a lot of rim protection when they lost Zach Edey.
Of course.
And Fletcher Lawyer is still Fletcher Lawyer. If you leave him open, he can make shots. But if you can commit a guy to him, he will struggle to take that man off the dribble. So that's the way it's been for Purdue. I think they're very matchup dependent. They made it to the championship game last year. I don't see that in their cards this year, but
sure.
but they can make a Sweet 16 run depending on their matchups.
Okay. JJ.
Yes.
Only 1 or 2 regular season games to go for most teams, and then you got the tournament. Potential seedings. Give me some potential seedings for Big Ten teams. Let's talk about maybe the top 2 or 3. Maybe
Well, ESPN I saw on ESPN they had Michigan State and Wisconsin as 2 seeds, and that was about where the Big Ten topped out at.
Okay, they had Wisconsin ahead of Michigan.
They did have Wisconsin ahead of Michigan as of right now.
What do you think about that?
I don't hate it. Wisconsin, I think, has been very consistent.
Okay.
I think Michigan has been very. They've won a lot of games, but a lot of the games that they've won have been by 4 points or less.
True.
I don't know if I'm drinking all of the Kool-Aid on Michigan as of yet. But, Michigan also has some devastating losses. They have that loss to Oklahoma. They were up 3 with under a minute left, and they gave up a 4-point play. That's a tough way to lose a game.
That's very tough.
So they have some tough losses in addition to some, pretty good wins.
That loss to Arkansas is not looking as bad as it did 3 weeks ago.
It's not looking as bad, but it's still looking pretty.
It's a tournament team.
Yeah, Arkansas is on the right side on the bubble right now. But, Michigan's out of conference schedule was not what Wisconsin's was. So
give me some potential seeding, JJ, in the SEC before we get out of basketball.
Well, the number 1 overall seed will be Auburn.
They lost last night.
Doesn't matter. They could lose the next night after that.
So, if Arkansas beat them in the tournament, they still going to get the number 1 seed?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, Arkansas. Do your thing.
Yeah, hopefully. So Auburn, they'll be the number 1 overall seed, and then there will be another SEC team that makes it on the 1 seed line. But will it be Tennessee? Will it be Alabama? Will it be Florida?
Who say you?
I think Florida might end up actually being the best team out of all those teams, but I do think Alabama. I think Alabama will end up beating Auburn, which will. I think that Alabama will get it.
They play each other Saturday. I think Alabama has better talent than Tennessee or Florida, but I don't know if that's going to get them there. We'll see. JJ.
Dad.
It's March.
It is March.
What took us so long to start talking about the Combine?
Well, it's March.
Combine started in February. We're talking NFL football.
That's crazy. The NFL, the college football season ended late January. Combine starts in February. That's
late February.
That's the way it starts.
Spring practice starts April.
Yep. The draft is late April.
Yeah. In Green Bay this year.
I don't know if they have the infrastructure to handle all the people, but we will see.
JJ, I just want to talk some numbers really quickly before we get ready to get out of here.
Okay.
NFL Combine. The participants. The number of participants from the Big Ten was surprisingly low. Only 82 of the 330 participants were from the Big Ten. Compare that to the SEC. The SEC had 105. With 2 fewer schools than the Big Ten had 82.
Yeah.
But you combine those 2 schools together, JJ, they had 57% of the participants. So they had over half.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
No, it's not. Man. It's interesting, JJ. 330 people got invited to the Combine, but there's not that many draft slots out there.
Nope, there's 270 something?
Yeah, so we know a lot of these guys went to the Combine, won't get drafted. The one school that did not send anyone to the draft, there's more than one school, but in the Big Ten, Northwestern didn't.
Yeah.
But the big school, to my surprise, was that green and white school in East Lansing, Michigan State. Send no one to the Combine, JJ. Why not?
No, they weren't ball eligible. I guess,
Well, JJ, before we get out of here, I just want to do those numbers really quick. I want to talk about one player really quickly that went to the Combine from Arkansas, a wide receiver, Teslaa. I might be mispronouncing his name. He pronounced it a bit different from Teslaa, or whatever like that.
Yeah, Isaac Teslaa.
Yeah, but JJ.
The Hillsdale transfer from Michigan?
From Hillsdale College in Michigan.
Yeah.
Went to Arkansas, played 2 years there. I think he will get drafted. You were not that high on him.
Well, I was not that high on him midway through the Arkansas's year.
Okay.
But I do think that, he does work out well. He's, in his second, third year as a wide receiver? Because he
played quarterback in high school and then went to
Hillsdale, where he did play
receiver.
For Okay. So he's been playing receiver for what, 5 years then?
4.
Okay.
4.
Well, 4 years. He's still learning the position. I think he did really test really well. And I think he had a very good showing in the bowl game.
Okay. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets drafted. I don't know if he'll get drafted in the first 2 days. I mean, he won't get drafted in the first 2 rounds, obviously. But after that, I mean, I wouldn't say he wouldn't get drafted in the first 3 rounds. But Luke McCaffrey from Rice, he changed over from being a quarterback to a wide receiver, and only had a couple of years as a receiver. And the Washington Commanders drafted him in the 3rd round. So
okay,
I could see a nice
well,
comparison.
Teslaa didn't have the stat at Arkansas, and to me, he didn't have the stats because the quarterback didn't throw to him enough. Had he thrown to him, that was many times he was wide open. Quarterback wasn't throwing to him. But that's neither here nor there. They said, we're going to get ready to get out of here, and we're going to get ready to watch some basketball. At least that's what I'm getting ready to do.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
P.S. Whoopig Suey.
Who they?
Let's do it. Next time. Bam.